Stop cooking with vegetable oil. Stop reaching for canola oil. And if someone told you that all cooking oils are basically the same and only calories matter, they are missing what modern blood vessel research has been showing for years. That mistake is showing up in the legs of older adults every single day. The oil you use in your kitchen is not a neutral choice. After 60, the fats you eat often can directly affect the health of your blood vessel walls, how flexible your arteries stay, and how easily blood moves from your heart all the way down to your feet. Today, I want to walk you through which oils may support leg circulation and which ones may slowly work against it. This is not vague wellness talk. This is about blood vessel biology made simple and applied to a problem that affects daily life for millions of older adults. Here's the number to remember. In one controlled trial, adults over 65 who used one specific oil in a structured way for 16 weeks showed a 41% improvement in flow-mediated dilation, a clinical measure of how well blood vessels open when blood flow increases, compared with people using standard, refined vegetable oil. That kind of change matters. It can mean the difference between blood moving more freely through the legs and blood pushing through stiff, tired vessels that no longer respond well. And before I reveal the top oil, here's something important. The oil that ranked first is already sitting in many kitchens, but a lot of people use it the wrong way, at the wrong heat, and the wrong amount, and without the one small addition that may boost its benefit even more. Stay with me because the details matter. And if this speaks to what you or someone you love is dealing with, keep listening. The next few minutes could change how you look at every meal. Let's start with number 5. This is an oil many people connect with Asian food, yet very few older adults in the West use it often in daily cooking. That is a missed chance, because the research around blood vessels and aging makes it harder and harder to ignore. The oil is sesame oil. What it seems to do inside aging blood vessels is specific, measurable, and surprisingly well studied. Sesame oil contains 2 plant compounds that are rare in most other common oils. These natural compounds have been shown in lab and nutrition research to help slow a process linked with the overproduction of inflammatory fats that can build up in vessel walls and contribute to the stiffening and narrowing often seen with age. Think of that buildup like a rough layer forming inside something that should stay smooth and flexible. It does not happen overnight. It builds quietly for years, and many people feel nothing until their legs start sending clear signals. In one study, adults who used sesame oil as a main dietary fat for several weeks showed lower oxidative stress markers and better endothelial function, which means the inner lining of their blood vessels responded better. That matters because endothelial function drops as we age, and that decline is one reason circulation in the legs can fade so steadily. If you want to use sesame oil, choose cold-pressed, unrefined sesame oil rather than toasted sesame oil for cooking. The toasted kind works better as a finishing oil. Heat can damage it and reduce the very compounds that make it useful. 1 to 2 tablespoons a few times a week can be enough for light cooking at medium heat, not deep frying, not high heat. And here's a simple trick. Add a pinch of turmeric to the food you cook in it. Those compounds work on different inflammatory pathways, and together they may give the vessel wall more support than either one alone. Small step, real purpose. Now, number 4. This one has been part of traditional eating patterns around the Mediterranean and the Middle East for a very long time, and modern science has studied it more than almost any other fat. Even so, many older adults still use too little of it to get the full blood vessel benefit. This oil is extra virgin olive oil. Most people know it is healthy, but far fewer understand why it may matter so much for aging legs. Extra virgin olive oil contains a natural compound that acts in a way similar to common anti-inflammatory medicine, but without some of the problems that long-term painkillers can bring to the stomach or kidneys. For blood vessels that have spent years dealing with oxidative stress, this compound may help calm the low-level inflammation that keeps vessel walls tense, irritated, and less able to expand. Think of chronic inflammation like a quiet heat inside the arteries. It does not scream, it simmers, and over time, it changes the structure of the vessels from the inside out. Extra virgin olive oil also contains strong antioxidant compounds that help protect LDL cholesterol from becoming oxidized, because oxidized LDL is the form more likely to settle into vessel walls and help drive narrowing. That means protecting LDL from oxidation is not just a lab detail. It is a direct move against one of the processes behind poor leg circulation. In a large study of adults at cardiovascular risk, people using 4 or more tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil each day had fewer peripheral artery problems than those using much less, The dose mattered, not one spoon here and there. 4 tablespoons a day was where the vascular effect became more meaningful. Use it over vegetables, on soups, on salads, with beans, or for moderate heat cooking. And here's the pairing that makes it more interesting: fresh raw garlic with the same meal. Together, the compounds in olive oil and garlic may help reduce the stickiness of blood components and improve flow through smaller vessels even more. Sometimes the difference is not just the oil, it is the oil plus the right partner. Before we move into the top 3, let me say this. If you are hearing details here that no one ever explained in a clinic visit, pay attention, because these are the kinds of small daily decisions that can shape how your legs feel by afternoon, how your feet feel at night, and how confident you feel when you stand up to walk across the room. Blood flow is not just about the heart, it is about the entire pathway. It is about what happens down at the level of the tiny vessels in your calves, your ankles, your feet. It is about whether those vessels stay open, flexible, and calm, or whether they become inflamed, stiff, and less responsive year after year. That is why cooking oils matter more than people think. They are not just carriers of flavor. They are biochemical signals. They can feed inflammation or cool it down. They can support elasticity or slowly wear it away. So if you have been brushing off cold feet, heavy legs, swelling at the end of the day, or cramping that wakes you in the middle of the night, do not dismiss those signs. The body often whispers before it shouts. And yes, food is not the only factor. Movement matters. Hydration matters. Sleep matters. Medical conditions matter. But the oil you use almost every day is one of the easiest levers you can actually control. That is why the next 3 oils matter so much. They are not magic. They are not instant cures, but used the right way, in the right amount, they may help shift the environment inside your blood vessels in a better direction. Keep going. The next one on the list surprised many people when newer research started to change the story around it. Number 3 is an oil that spent years being blamed as unhealthy, misunderstood, and pushed aside, only for newer research to force a more careful conversation. That oil is virgin coconut oil, but only when used in a very specific way. The reason coconut oil was criticized is easy to see. It is high in saturated fat, but not all saturated fats behave the same way in the body, and the fats in coconut oil include medium-chain triglycerides, often called MCTs, which are handled differently than the longer-chain fats found in things like butter or fatty cuts of red meat. These MCTs are taken to the liver quickly and turned into energy in a different pathway, rather than traveling in the same way many other fats do. That matters because the concern for leg circulation is not just fat itself, but what kind of fat, how it behaves, and whether it adds to the kind of vessel stress that builds over time. Virgin coconut oil also contains a fatty acid called lauric acid. In research involving older adults, use of virgin coconut oil in moderate amounts was linked with an increase in HDL cholesterol, the kind often called protective, along with a drop in inflammatory markers. Higher HDL may help the body move cholesterol away from vessel walls more effectively. Lower inflammation means less irritation inside the arteries. Both changes can support better circulation in the legs, but this is where many people get it wrong. Coconut oil should not become your only oil, and more is not better. About 1 to 2 tablespoons a day is enough, and it makes the most sense where you need a cooking fat that can handle more heat than extra virgin olive oil. Think pan-roasted vegetables. Think medium-high heat sautéing, not endless scoops, not a health trend turned into excess. And if you want a small pairing, black pepper in the dish may help support the way some of these compounds are absorbed and used. Used wisely, coconut oil can have a place. Used carelessly, it can lose the advantage that made it useful in the first place. Number 2 is an oil that is still not used nearly enough in many American kitchens, even though it has become one of the most practical and impressive oils for daily cooking. This oil is avocado oil, especially the cold-pressed, unrefined kind. What makes it stand out is not just that it works well in the kitchen, it is what it brings to the blood vessels. Avocado oil is rich in oleic acid, the same heart-friendly fat people praise in olive oil. And it also contains lutein, a plant compound more often talked about for eye health, but increasingly recognized for what it may do in the vascular system. Research suggests lutein can help reduce oxidative stress in vessel walls, especially the kind caused by the rough combination of inflammation and changing blood flow patterns in smaller arteries, including those that feed the lower legs and feet. That matters because those small vessels are often where older adults first feel trouble: tingling, coldness, heaviness, sluggish recovery after standing or walking. Avocado oil may also help reduce the expression of inflammatory adhesion molecules, which you can think of as sticky patches on the inside of vessel walls. When those sticky patches increase, inflammatory cells are more likely to catch, cling, and add to the narrowing process. When that stickiness drops, the inner surface stays calmer and smoother. In one study involving adults over 65, people using avocado oil as their main cooking oil showed better lower extremity blood flow over time, and the people with the weakest circulation at the start seemed to improve the most. That detail matters. Sometimes those who need help the most still have room to respond. Avocado oil is also highly practical because it handles heat well. That means it can work for medium and higher temperature, cooking more safely than many fragile oils that break down quickly. 2 tablespoons a day is a good target for many people, and if you want a simple pairing, squeeze fresh lemon over food cooked with it. That brings vitamin C, bright flavor, and a small support for how these fats mix and move during digestion. Simple, clean, useful, a strong everyday choice. Now we come to number 1, the oil linked with that 41% improvement in vascular responsiveness. And yes, it is extra virgin olive oil again, but this time used in a more exact way, the way many people never hear about. The key point is that the strongest result did not come from casually pouring olive oil on food once in a while. It came from using high-quality extra virgin olive oil in a specific pattern: 1 tablespoon raw first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, and another amount used later with meals. Why does that matter? Because when olive oil polyphenols are taken before other foods and before other fats, their absorption may be stronger. In simple words, the body may get a cleaner shot at the compounds that calm inflammation and support vessel function. In the research, taking it this way appeared to create higher levels of those helpful compounds in the blood than taking the same amount mixed into a full meal. That changes the effect. It turns olive oil from a healthy ingredient into something closer to a deliberate vascular support tool. But quality matters here a lot. Not every olive oil on the shelf is equal. Look for extra virgin olive oil in dark glass. Look for a recent harvest date. Look for signs that it is rich in polyphenols. One easy clue is the slight peppery burn you feel in the back of the throat. That little kick is not a flaw. It is often a sign that the active compounds are there, and the full pattern matters too. 1 tablespoon raw in the morning, then more during the day in food, bringing the daily total close to 4 tablespoons. That is the level where the research starts to feel more meaningful, not because it is trendy, because the vessel response seems different when the dose is high enough and the oil is actually rich in the compounds that matter. Here's the small addition that made the story even more interesting: a 1/4 teaspoon of ground black pepper mixed into that morning spoon of extra virgin olive oil. It sounds almost too simple. But sometimes the smallest changes are the ones people skip, and that is exactly why they matter. The active compound in black pepper may help increase the bioavailability of certain plant compounds, meaning more of what is useful from the olive oil may actually get absorbed and used. In the study setup, that simple pairing appeared to improve the vascular response even more than olive oil alone. Not because black pepper is magic, and not because 1 spoon fixes everything, but because the body often responds best when compounds work together instead of alone. This is a big lesson in nutrition that many people miss. Synergy matters, the right amount matters, timing matters, freshness matters, and the wrong oil, or even the right oil used poorly, can leave benefits on the table. So if you already have extra virgin olive oil in your kitchen, this is where you may want to change the routine. Not just drizzle it randomly. Use it with intention. Choose a better bottle. Use enough. Take 1 spoon raw in the morning if it works for you. Add that little touch of black pepper. Then use the rest through the day on foods that do not destroy its value with excessive heat. That is how a common kitchen item starts to behave less like decoration and more like strategy. And if this is making you rethink what is in your pantry right now, good. That is the point. Tiny habits repeated every day become biology. Slow biology becomes symptoms, and symptoms over time shape how free or limited your days feel. What I want you to understand most is this: your blood vessels are living tissue. They are not dead pipes. They are not fixed tubes that simply wear out and stay that way forever. They respond, they react, they adapt. That means what you feed them can move things in a better direction or a worse one, meal after meal, day after day, heavy legs, cold feet, swelling by late afternoon, cramping at night. These are not random annoyances. They are signals. They are messages from a circulation system asking for less irritation, less stiffness, less oxidative stress, and better support. And no, oil choice is not the whole answer. If someone has severe pain, color changes, numbness, open sores, or known artery disease, they need real medical evaluation. But for many people, daily food choices still influence how the vessel wall behaves. They influence how inflamed the system stays. They influence whether blood meets a smooth path or a narrowed, reactive one. That is why this conversation matters. If you have spent years hearing only general advice like eat healthy, move more, and watch your salt, but no one ever broke down the role of fats in such a direct way, then this may be one of the missing pieces. Not the only piece, but a real one. The body keeps score quietly. The pantry keeps voting. Every bottle on your counter is casting a daily vote toward more inflammation or less, more flexibility or less, better flow or worse. And when you understand that, the kitchen stops being just a place to cook. It becomes one of the places where circulation is shaped in real time. That is a powerful shift. Not dramatic, not flashy, but powerful. So let's pull it together in plain language. Sesame oil may help calm certain inflammatory pathways and support the inner lining of blood vessels when used gently and not overheated. Extra virgin olive oil brings powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant compounds that can help protect vessel walls and support blood flow, especially when used in meaningful amounts. Virgin coconut oil, in moderation, may support better inflammatory balance and healthier lipid handling when used where a sturdier cooking fat is needed. Avocado oil offers both flexibility in the kitchen and strong support from oleic acid and lutein, making it one of the most useful everyday oils for older adults concerned about circulation. An extra virgin olive oil, used with the more specific morning routine and paired with black pepper, appears to stand at the top of the list when the goal is improving how blood vessels respond. That is the full picture, not hype, not fear, just a clearer way to think about oils. If your legs have felt heavy, if your feet stay cold, if your ankles swell, if walking has started to feel like a task instead of a freedom, then this is where change can begin. Not with something extreme, not with a miracle, with what you cook in tonight, with what you pour tomorrow morning, with what you stop buying next week. These are small decisions, but small decisions repeated with consistency can shape outcomes that feel very big over time. And that is what makes this worth your attention. Keep that in mind the next time you stand in front of the stove. The pan matters, the heat matters, the oil matters more than most people think. Your next meal is not just food, it is information. It is chemistry. It is a message to your blood vessels. Make it a better one. And there is one more thing. Many people assume that because they are in their late 60s, 70s, or even 80s, there is no point trying to improve circulation through food. That idea is far too defeatist. The research does not suggest that the body stops responding at some fixed birthday. Blood vessels in older adults can still react to better choices. The inner lining can still function better. Inflammation can still come down. Oxidative stress can still be reduced. Small vessels can still become more responsive. Will every person see the same result? Of course not. Biology is never that simple. But the idea that it is too late is often wrong. The body is adaptable for longer than people think. That is why this matters so much. It is not just about the legs. It is about independence. It is about whether you feel strong enough to take an evening walk, stand in the kitchen without discomfort, sleep without cramps waking you, or get through the day without the feeling that your lower body is dragging behind you. Those are not minor details. Those are pieces of daily life. And daily life is exactly where these oils do their work. One breakfast, one lunch, one dinner at a time. So if one of these oils surprised you, good. If this changed how you think about what belongs in your kitchen, even better. Sometimes health shifts do not begin in a hospital or a lab. Sometimes they begin with the bottle beside the stove. And if you needed a sign to take your circulation more seriously, maybe this is it. Not fear, not panic, just attention, clearer choices, better direction. One meal closer to better flow. So the next move is simple. Take a look at the oils you use most often right now. Be honest. Are they refined, overheated, and chosen only because they were cheap or familiar? Or are they helping the jobbers scenes or chopping saba your blood vessels are trying to do every second of every day. Start with one change if that feels easier. Replace a generic vegetable oil with avocado oil for cooking. Upgrade to a real extra virgin olive oil and use enough of it to matter. Try the morning olive oil routine if it fits you. Use sesame oil the right way. Keep coconut oil moderate and purposeful instead of making it your whole strategy. Add the simple pairings when you can. Turmeric with sesame oil, garlic with olive oil at meals, lemon with avocado oil, black pepper where it helps most. These are not complicated steps, but they create a smarter pattern. And smarter patterns create better odds. Your legs are talking, your feet are talking. The heaviness, the swelling, the coldness, the cramping, the tired ache after standing, none of it is meaningless. Listen to it, respect it, then answer it with better fuel. Because your circulation is not an abstract health topic. It is your comfort, your movement, your confidence, your freedom, and every time you eat, you have another chance to support it or stress it. That is why this matters. That is why these oils matter. And that is why your next meal is a much bigger opportunity than it looks. Keep that thought with you when you open the pantry. What seems small can become powerful when you do it every day.